Please turn with me to Chapter 6, Lesson 5, Algebraic Properties. We're on page 473. So, what are we going to learn today? We're going to learn that order matters and groupings matter. Order matters and grouping or groups matter. Very, very important. Okay, Angelica and Nari are baking cookies for a bake sale fundraiser. Angelica bakes 6 sheets with 10 cookies each, and Nari bakes 10 sheets with 6 cookies each. So how many cookies can she bake? Angelica, well, we know it's multiplying, so 6 times 10 is 60. And then Nari is the same, but in this case it's 10 times 6, which is still 60. So basically, I switch the order. 6 times 10 is equal to 10 times 6. So that means it doesn't matter when I multiply what order I put it in. All right, turn the page. Okay, so we have 3 different properties that we need to talk about. The commutative property, which I call taking the bus. The associative property, which I refer to as friends. And the identity property is like looking in the mirror. So, notice on these that they only apply to addition and multiplication. Same for the next one, only to addition and multiplication. So when we talk about these properties, you can only do them with addition and multiplication. So, in the commutative property, order is being switched. So the order is important in the commutative property. AB is equal to BA. And then in the associative property, groups are important. So when I change the grouping with parentheses, so the easiest way to remember the associative property is it has to contain parentheses. Has to contain parentheses. Parentheses. Now, it also has to be only with addition and multiplication. You cannot, I repeat, cannot do this with subtraction or division. And then the identity property for 0, if I add 0 to anything, I'm still going to get the same number out. And if I multiply something by 1, I'm still going to get the same product. So in this case, we're talking about same. So we will always get the same product when adding 0 or multiplying by 1. So properties are statements that are true for any number. The expression 6 times 10 and 10 times 6 are called equivalent expressions. So one side must equal the other side. So again, we have the commutative property, the associative property, and the identity property. These are properties that you have to multiply. For commutative, it's about order, associative about groups, and identity is about producing the same answer. Okay, so now we need to determine whether the 2 expressions are equivalent, and if so, what is the property that applies, and if not, why? Okay, so in the first one, I see parentheses, so I know that it's the associative property of addition. And I know the associative property of addition works every time. And if I equal them, I have 15 plus, in parentheses, 5 plus 8. 5 plus 8 is 13. 15 and 13 is 28. This is 28 also, so 28 equals 28. Now, in the next one, it does look like the associative property, but we have a problem here. We have subtraction. So in this case where we would say yes, we would say no here, because the minute you switch the order or grouping, they're not going to be the same in subtraction or division. So the answer to this is no. Turn the page. Okay, we have 2 more. 24 plus 0 and, 34 plus 0 and 34. So we know that this is yes, and we know it's the identity property of addition. It's important to say of what operation. And the next one, 20 divided by 5 and 5 divided by 20. The answer to this is a resounding no. Why? Because you can't divide and get the same answer. This is 4, which is not equal to 1/4. Okay, it's your turn. Pause the video. Did you get what I got? For the first one, yes, they're equivalent, and it's using the, not the commutative property, it's using the associative property of multiplication. And then the second one, the answer is no, because it involves division, and you'll get 2 different answers. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so now we need to figure out what properties to use. In a recent season, the Kansas Jayhawks had 15 guards, 4 forwards, and 3 centers on their roster. Write 2 equivalent expressions using the associative property. So we need 3 numbers to do the associative property. 3 plus, in parentheses, 4 plus 3 is the same as writing 15 plus 4, in parentheses, plus 3. Now it's your turn. So again, remember in the properties, the associative is all about parentheses and groups, and the commutative is all about order. Pause the video. Did you get what I got? Using the commutative property, which says switching the orders, you get the same thing. So 7 plus 12 is equal to 12 plus 7. Great, turn the page. The area of a triangle can be found using the expression 1/2 base times height, where b is the base and h is the height. Find the area of the triangle shown at the left. So we have the formula 1/2 base times height, and then we input the numbers in. So the base is 15 and the height is 12. But notice, half of 15 is too hard, because then you get a decimal or a fraction. We always like dividing numbers that are even in half. So if I switch the order, then I can do half of 12, which is 6, and then 6 times 15, which is 90 square feet. And I've used the commutative property to do that. We do this mentally. We very rarely will actually switch the numbers on paper. But I know that when you multiply, everybody looks for ways to make the math easier, and this is one of them. We do the same thing when adding groups of 10, where we can join things together to make 10s. All right, so now it's your turn. Pause the video. Okay, so I have 6 times 11 times 1/3, and it's easier to divide things by 3 early on just to get rid of the fraction. So I switched and brought the 1/3 to the front, because I know I can do 1/3 of 6. Now if 11 was next, then that would be more difficult. I'd have to switch those. But 1/3 of 6 is 2, and then 2 times 11 is 22. So again, switching the order helps me to do the math easier. Now it's your turn. Please complete the guided practice. Come back when you're done. Did you get what I got for number 1? Yes, the associative property of addition. No, subtraction. 3, yes, the identity property of multiplication. Number 4, when we switch the order, we still get the same answer of 18.15. And then lastly, we have 12, 15, and 18. We have to add them together. So if I switch the order first and put 12 plus 18 in parentheses, do that first, then I get a multiple of 10, which would be 30. Add 15 is 45. So again, when I do that, the math becomes easier. So when you rearrange numbers, it helps the math become simpler. Now it's your turn. Thank you.